Okay.
We know
Um,
Thor's Fire of Gravity.
all right. So, welcome everybody. Um, so, um, what we're going to talk about today is some changes that I'm sort of making to the curriculum. I got the like official AP music theory textbook. And I didn't have this before. I was using if I can find it. Uh, the I was using this, the Complete Idiot's Guide to Music Theory, as like one of my core texts. But and alongside the official like AP sanctioned teacher's guide for teaching it. But as I went to the AP student study guide, I'm realizing just how much is missing from the curriculum. So everything that I sort of had blocked out is more or less incomplete. So I'm trying to keep this in the scope of things that are like can be pretty readily understood and communicated over technology. And I think that's sort of the main obstacle that I'm overcoming at the moment. So I wanted to ask you guys a couple of things. And I sort of want to make this as friendly to you guys as possible because ultimately this is for you, not for me. So I wanted to ask what are so like overall what are just sort of like so I can get everyone's and so I can actually like write it down in a sticky note. What are the most important things that you want to have by the time that this course is over? Like what are the skills? What do you want to use it for? Is it mostly for sight singing? Is it mostly for like composition? Is it mostly for being able to play the piano or guitar more effectively? Is it for composition? Is it for lo-fi music production? I just sort of want to get so I can like write down really, really specific things so that way I can sort of tailor it to you guys. And then I'm going to ask you questions. Would this, including this section, be helpful? Because it's technically on the test, but if you guys aren't actually going to take the AP music theory test, then it might not be totally necessary. So if we can just sort of go one by one and we'll go how you guys are showing up on my screen. So yeah, boy, um, I'm assuming that you want the thing that you mostly want to do is lo-fi production, guitar, um, and you said that you wanted to do blues, rock, and jazz, right?
Yeah, like um kind of like how to write like chord progressions and melodies and that kind of stuff to like
Okay.
incorporate into my own music and like be able to get better at like guitar in general like I know this is a guitar course but like how to incorporate guitar into some of my things like in a unique way.
Uh-huh. Cool. Sweet. So I have lo-fi production, guitar skills, and even though it's not a guitar course, like learning how to incorporate all of this music theory in a practical way on your guitar playing, and specifically chord progressions and melodies. Yeah. Cool. Fruity Loop.
Uh, I guess like just um anything that would be helpful for musical theater. I don't know exactly like what.
So that's probably sight singing. Um, how to read notes on a staff. Um, well, I'll put down oral skills question mark because that's a question that I'm going to ask later. But you mostly wanting to apply this toward music theater, singing in either a lead or in the chorus effectively.
Yeah.
Cool. Luke.
I would say, for me personally, like kind of Oh wait, sorry, I just got sight reading top of my list, and let's see, probably like harmonies and whatnot after that.
Okay. Are you wanting to write music at all or like arrange music? Because I know like you're super, super into barbershop. So are you wanting to do like original arrangements of songs?
Maybe not so much. I just would like to, like, okay, so here's a song, harmonize to it. So if I, if I hear a harmony track a billion times, I can sing along to it. If you say, okay, here's a single note, harmonize to that note, I can harmonize to that. But I have a difficult time harmonizing to a complete song. But I'd say sight reading would be more something that I would see as more important.
Cool. All right. So sort of to sort of get into this nitty gritty of like harmonies, you could harmonize with just like a root note in 11 other notes, and that's just like in the same octave. Like that's not even just like spanning octaves and with like compound intervals. So what? Okay, sort of speak about this more in like a feeling way and more of a qualitative way. What are you hoping to achieve with your harmony abilities? Like, are you wanting to create like, so you know how like Ed Sheeran does his like loops? So in order, like, do you want to effectively learn how to sing multiple harmonies that like can feasibly stack on each other? Or are you wanting to go, someone sings a melody and you sing a harmony and somebody goes, let's actually, you were singing on the third, sing on the fifth, and you know exactly what that means. Are you wanting to more be able to like hear a melody and go, oh, I can sing a counterpoint to that, and like create like an alternative melody that complements that? What mostly are you wanting to do with those harmonies?
Kind of, yeah. So if someone says, okay, so do this in like a third instead of a fifth, I can understand what that means. But I feel like that would help if I could sight sing as well, because then I could understand, okay, that's this far on the scale instead of this far.
Okay. Yeah. So intervals, cool. All right. Yeah. Is there anything else in that realm?
For me,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, as far as like, I think my vocal technique, as far as like, how to sing, I feel like I kind of understand that a bit. But I don't know, sheet music, sheet music for me at least has never been that useful. As if I just hear a song a billion times, then I can sing it. And if someone's like, here's a sheet music, sing the song, if I had no idea what it was, I couldn't do it.
Okay. Cool. That makes total sense. All right. Miss Harry Styles.
Yes. First, Kate apologizes because she can't get into the meeting because she has technical difficulties right now.
I saw that. No worries.
Okay. I'd say probably for me, I want to like take away learning more on the production side, I guess, production and composition. More specifically, like bedroom pop, like Claro kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. That's funny because that's actually the music that like me and my buddies are trying to make in like our little group. So I'm actually right there in that with you. Theory for production. Bedroom pop. Okay. Anything else? What else? Oh, same as Emma. So I'll do lo-fi on your I'll put lo-fi / bedroom pop production. Yeah. Sweet. Emma, back to you.
I think that was mainly it. I guess
Okay.
just like learning how to play instruments effectively too.
And the instruments were guitar and piano mainly?
Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet. Who's next? Mr. Lemur.
It's me. Okay. So personally, just sight reading. That's literally all I would like to do. I don't know how to read music at all, and that's a problem. So yeah.
And that's mostly for like music theater applications.
Yes, mainly.
Cool. And could I, for those of you that wanted to do like specifically music theater stuff, could you quickly run through what your vocal part is, if you know that? No worries if you don't.
Teen boy. Constantly changing.
I'm gonna write mid puberty tenor 1.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Because that will change. That's voices. My voice never necessarily dropped, but my vocal range got like smoother, and I can't now. I think this was more like with my acting training, but now with my like breath technique, I can reach like lower notes. So puberty hits us all differently. No judgment. Gage, can I get your vocal part real quick?
Tenor. I don't know, like the specific. You said
I'm gonna write
like
you as a tenor 2.
okay.
Or no, you're a tenor 1 and Ben is a tenor 2. Yeah. Okay. And then Luke, I'm assuming you're more baritone bass 2.
Yeah, I'd say that's my more comfortable range, baritone, but I can go tenor. I don't like my voice very much when it's up in tenor, but I can do it. It's not my favorite.
Okay. What kind of parts at this moment, like, is there a character type that you really, really want to play, or like a character from a specific musical that's like very archetypal for the types of roles that you want to play either in college or afterwards, if that's sort of what you want to pursue?
Me or anyone?
Yeah, you.
Davey from Newsies. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know
That
he's
hits
like
it right on the
a
spot.
tenor, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Then I might send you some separate voice stuff. If you want to write this down, then if you want to write this down, look up it's called one voice technique. And the guy who made this technique is called Michael Maresca. Another one that you could look up is called
Wait, sorry, Michael who?
Michael Maresca. It's
And-
almost mascara, but it's Maresca. And then another one is a book called The Naked Voice by W. Stephen Smith. That's actually the opera technique that I was trained under. And that's really good technique for taking like baritones and being able to smooth out the register, because something that's like different about the way that men's and women's voices work is like, so for women, if they want to be like opera singers or like more legit singers like Kelly O'Hara or Kristen Chenoweth, what they do is they actually flip into their head voice as low as they possibly can, so that way that range is smooth. Whereas men, what they can actually do is their head voice can bleed into their chest voice. So there's this gray area, and Michael Maresca and W. Stephen Smith have like very, very specific pedagogies for making that gray area as smooth as possible. So yeah, if you want to look up those vocal,
That's singing in your mix, right?
yeah. Now, mix, when people talk about their mix, I believe, at least maybe this is just sort of like I'm colored by my training, but mix is actually specifically for women, but so it's a different thing for men. But yeah, if you think about it, that's pretty much it. It's just like they use different words because vocal pedagogy is sometimes sexist. Cool. Yeah. And then Olivia.
Okay. So I want to learn is basically like probably just like how to like write music and stuff.
So composition. Do you play any instruments?
Yeah,
What do you play?
piano.
Okay. The easiest one to compose with. Awesome. And what kind of music do you like really, really, if you could remind me what music you really like or what kind of music that you're wanting to compose?
Like sort of like dream pop.
Totally, yeah. Do you have an artist that you really like that you want to make music similar to as an inspiration?
Not really.
Okay, that's fine. But like dream pop composition, okay. Piano, anything else?
Not really.
Cool. Sweet. I think I got everyone, right? Miles, Gage, Luke, Emma, Ben, Olivia. All right. Okay, so a lot of you said singing. So, I think I'm in the middle of like restructuring how I sort of want to go about the final weeks, just because I think that looking back on how I structured it before, there's a lot that's less relevant to what you guys specifically want to learn. So here's sort of what I'm thinking. That I'm going to do an entire, so the week 3, I'm essentially going to do the last thing to sort of like create our baseline for what we need. So week 3, which hopefully if I get my crap together, is going to come out either today or tomorrow. And it's going to cover, if I can actually give me a moment while I find my journals. I have like 110 pieces of paper all across my room. I am so glad that you can't actually see what my room is like right now. So next week, or next one, I think what we're going to do is we're going to cover the basics of transposing, what is timbre and texture types, the very, very basics of what is a melody and what are like sort of what are the basics of melody, some basic rhythmic devices, and then modes, which is a whole beast in and of itself. So after that, and let me grab a pen so I can write down my thoughts. And then plus modes for week 3. So also I'll probably do the basics of how to read music. So the basics of like what do notes look like on a staff, what are the note types, like note durations, and where do like notes rest on the staff. That was covered in week 1. But I think this week I'll also apply that. So like we'll have really, really basic like singing lines, and I'll show you how to work that in. But I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to organize week by week based on specific skills. So what that means is if I can break out my big music theory book, that I don't think we're going to do score analysis. I don't think that's necessary, even though that is like a huge component of what's on the test. I might do like very, very basic score analysis when we talk about composition, but I don't think that going up to like score analysis part like 3 is super, super important, as long as you know like what the structure of the sheet music is, especially from music theater, because only the basics I think are really, really important for that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to organize it by aural skills, harmonic organization, harmonic composition and progression. And in that third one, I'll also include melodic composition. A part 2 of composition where we'll talk about secondary function harmony. And then if we have time, I might do score analysis as the last one. And then peppered through. And so as I'm doing that, I'll sort of reference. So this part is really, really good for this genre. Also, if you have any questions about how to do it in GarageBand, hit me up in the group chat, in the group meet, and I'll throw literally all the YouTube tutorials that I can. I love scouring YouTube for tutorials. That is my love language. So I will provide all the free resources that I can. If any of you would, so raise your hand real quick. If any of you guys would consider yourselves to be like visual learners, like you need visual cues in order to like sort of like organize things in your brain. Okay. That's most of you. Cool. Then what I'll do is I'll also throw relevant PDFs into the group chat, and if I can't find them, then I'll make them for you. And when I come out with like the actual finalized version of this course, you guys will get like all those PDFs for free, essentially. Although, and I'll write this in the chat, Rick, I posted a bunch of Rick Beato videos in the group me, and he has a music theory book called the Beato book, and it has everything that you could ever need for music theory in that one book. It's not only this, it's this for like up to really, really crazy jazz whatevers where they're like, and this is how, so these are all the rules and this is how you break them. And he does a really, really excellent job of creating tables and graphs that organize it all in your head. So especially if you're like a really, really visual learner, I would consider making that investment in the Beato book. And I believe if you go to the video that he released today on his YouTube channel, he has an anniversary sale going on, so you could get it for like 50% off. Yeah. Okay, so that being said, I'm probably going to have the most difficulty out of all of those being taught. I'm going to have the most difficulty doing the aural skills. And what I mean by that is teaching you guys that are, especially the ones that are most interested in sight singing and that part, learning how to effectively use the do re mi's, and in the minor key, the do re mi's. and seriously, and I think I mentioned this in either week 1 or 2, but if you make do re mi your best friend, and then because most people, especially if you're like musically inclined, can do the do re mi's from any starting root note pretty intuitively. And I think that that's just like our exposure to major keys on the radio, in most of the music that we listen to. We know how that progression works. The first thing that I would really, really recommend is integrating in your ear the do re mi's, which is the same thing for the natural minor key. And so it's do re mi is major. I'll write this in the chat. And then do re mi is natural minor.
What is May?
So let me get my so if we're in the key of C, can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start actually in F. Do re mi fa sol la ti do. Do ti la sol fa mi re do. That's the major key. And those that works literally starting on any root note that you want. Do re mi is that for minor keys. So I'll actually do this in the key of C. So actually, yeah. So I'll do it in the key of F. I figured it out. So so I'll do do re mi and then do re mi. So do re mi fa sol la ti do. Do ti la sol fa mi re do. Do re mi fa sol la te do, and descending. Do te la sol fa mi re do. Did
Okay,
any
so I assume those are sharps and flats?
Yeah, so it's that in a minor key. So in regular F major, so this is very backwards. Oh, actually, is it? So I don't think so. So if I were to go, oh, it's not. So perfect. So if I went do re mi fa sol la ti do, F major only has B flat as the only accidental. All the other notes are the white notes, the natural notes. But
Wait, why would that be one? Why wouldn't it all be white keys?
Because only C major is the only. You guys, Ben and Luke haven't watched the first 2 weeks of the lesson, so I'll send you as soon as this is over. I'll send you the first lesson.
Okay.
So yeah, something that we learned pretty off the bat is that C major is the only major key that uses only white notes. Every other key has at least one accidental. So G is, so we'll start with G. So it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And going back down.
Oh yeah. That does sound like do re mi.
Yeah. So that's what do re mi is. And you can pick any starting root note and do the same progression. Does first person in the chat gets kudos for what's the whole step, half step progression for major keys? First one to type it in gets kudos from me.
You have to type it.
Yeah, Miles got it.
Okay, never mind.
Boom.
Then.
Sorry. Yeah, so whole half whole, half, is that progression. And first one to type the natural minor progression also gets kudos. That one's a little bit harder, but let's close, Miles. That's the melodic minor. Anyone know the natural minor?
Natural minor is whole, half, whole, half, whole.
Yep. Way to go. So, if I were to go here, so I'll just do a quick representation of the major and minor intervals, what we just said. So, major is starting at the root note, whole, half step, because there's no black key in between E and F. Whole, half, because same thing, there's no sharp or flat or accidental black key in between B and C. So that's, one more time, starting at the root note, whole, half, whole, half. Now, minor is starting at the root note, whole, half, whole, half, whole. Going back down. So that's the natural minor key. Now, so most of us can do do, re, mi, which is the major aural progression intuitively. If you can do the same thing for the natural minor, which is do, re, mi, fa, so, le, te, do. And going back down, do, te, le, so, fa, me, re, do. If you can do that back and forth with the major key and the minor key intuitively, you have gotten like 70% of what aural skills are required of you. Then the next step, which is the last 20 to 30%, but takes the longest to master, because honestly, that last 20 to 30% is harder than just learning the progression. I know that doesn't make quite sense, but you'll figure it out. So then it's going, oh, I know what the interval between do and fa sounds like. Do, fa, and I can do it on a different root note. Do, fa,
That's
fa.
the Here Comes the Bride, Here Comes the Bride, that one. Yeah. That's also the opening for the Star Wars theme.
Yeah. So it starts with that major fourth. Do, fa is a major fourth. So if you can learn the difference between, oh, that's a major fourth and that's a major fifth. So if you can go do, so, do, so, do. If you can figure out those intervals and jump, then that's the aural skills. And those are the most important things that you need to master specifically for sight singing. Because if you learn, once you get like a piece of music, if you get One Day More from Les Mis, you get the sheet music and you go, oh, okay, I know that we're in the key of, I think it's in B flat, not sure. But it's like, okay, I know that I'm in the key of B flat. Then I just sort of know what key I'm in. I know what, like, sort of, I can hear where the root note is. I can hear where that do is. So then you can jump from, okay, so that's the third above the root. So that's me. That's always me. Always me. Then the fifth above the root note is always so. The seventh, or the leading note, right underneath the root note, is always T. So if you can go So if we're in B flat major, if I can go, so this is the root note. E flat is always fa. So fa, so, fa, mi, re, fa, so, la, fa, re, mi, do, so, do. If you can like know what those sound like and you're able to hear them in your head, and instead of singing the lyrics, sing the what's the do re mi's are called, is the technical word is solfege. So if you can sing the solfege along with a melody line, you will figure out how to sing these notes faster than literally everyone else in the choir, and you will be the MVP. But the secret to learning how to sight sing is learning your solfege. So if there's something that you like, you should run every single day, it's let me go on YouTube real quick. Let's actually share my screen. Don't look at my recommendeds, you'll see that I'm a crazy person. How to solfege, solfege scale with hand signs. If you're a kinest, so similarly, I asked you guys if you were visual learners. How many of you guys would consider yourselves kinesthetic learners, meaning that you have to like either like in order to learn or remember something, you have to like either walk it out or come up with hand signs. You can learn the hand signs for solfege. Going here, daily practice scales and triads.
How can I?
Learning how to do that with solfege, ear training, chromatic solfege. If there was something, for those of you that want to learn sight singing, if you practice that every single day, you are like well on your way to being a master of sight singing and oral skills. But so that's sort of, I'm not assigning homework because I don't think that that's what the purpose of this course is. But so now I want to give similar homework for my composition people. So let's do by Rob Thomas. Great song. Here's your homework for my composition peeps. Look up your favorite songs and go to either Ultimate Guitar Tabs, doesn't matter, just look up the chords for your favorite songs and go, okay, what key are we in right here? If we are in E, if we have E major, so or actually, is that the secondary dominant? No. Yeah, so figuring out, so go to here, it's like, all right, so what key are we in? Figure that out. And then remember how to do the notation of, okay, this is the root note, this is the capital I, this is the minor second, lowercase I, this is the minor third, lowercase I, and so on. If you can score that way with like as many songs as possible. So let's, oh, you know what? Here's a really, really fun, if you guys have seen this, it's amazing. So I'll give some background. So this will be what we're talking about when we're talking about chord progressions.
And we are the Axis of Awesome.
If I can pause this. So the chord progression for, if I can move this. Yeah, okay. So this is a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. 1, 5, 6, 4. Does that sound familiar? Because it's about to. Let's just skip to where they start doing this.
4.
Yeah, these 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4 chords.
Sorry, let me get
All you
this
need to
straight,
write a-
Chicken Little. What you're trying to say is you can take those 4 chords, repeat them, and pump out every pop song ever. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off, Chicken Little.
Just listen.
Let's find the one where it doesn't swear. Here we go.
Children hurt and you hear them crying. Check it out. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel. Of that I'm sure. People kill and people die and children hurt and you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Won't you turn the other cheek? Forever young, I wanna be forever young. I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm your lipstick stains on the front of my left side brains.
All these songs.
I knew I wouldn't forget you if I could. Then I would. I'd go wherever you will go. Can you feel the love tonight? Nobody wants to see us together, but it don't matter, no. 'Cause I got
country road, take me home to the place where I belong.
I'm your biggest fan, I'll follow you until you love me. Papa, paparazzi. I can't live with or without you. Pictures of you, pictures of me, hung upon your wall for the world to see.
And she will be loved. Yeah, she will be loved.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me.
No woman, no cry.
Yeah, Mama, this surely is a dream.
I come from a land down under.
You get the point.
That's
So-
wonderful.
Yeah. So all of those. So that I'll write that in the chat real quick. 1, 5, 6, 4. 1, 5, 6, 4. That chord progression is the most common chord progression in pop music. The most common chord progression in jazz is a 2, 5, 1. So that's something that I really, really recommend my composition peeps do, is go through all your favorite songs and sort of figure out what those chord progressions are in relation to their Roman numerals. Because I want you to do this for 2 reasons. One, I want you to go through the discouragement phase of like, wait, Every song that I've ever liked is exactly the same. And then you go, wait, every song that I've ever liked is exactly the same. So if I make a song with the same chord progression, it's okay. Because you, even if the chord progressions are exactly the same, you can arrange those chords in different ways with different voicings. And that's where the real artistry comes in. And that's what separates like a really basic, like simple triads, then you start throwing in inversions and jazz chords and counterpoint and secondary dominance. Like there's so much that you can do once you have your basic chord progression. The second thing that I really want you to be able to do is learn how to transpose. And we'll do this. Transposition will be covered in the very next lesson. But the whole idea is, okay, so what's the Journey, Don't Stop Believing is in the key of E, I want to say. So what would it sound like if it was in the key of D and you shifted all of the chords down a half or a whole step rather? The chord progression stays the same, but all the chords are shifted down one whole step. Because doing that is how you are able to create really effective covers, if that's your bag. I love a really, really good cover, but one of the most important things, in my opinion, that separates a good cover from a bad cover is the singer being able to find the key that fits their voice the best. Now, so if I were to, where's my capo? I can't find my capo. No! I literally cannot find anything in my room because it's such a mess.
Gosh, and I was about to say, you can use mine, and then I realized we're on a Zoom call.
Once we get to the studio, it'll be fine. Don't worry, I found it. So if I were to, so one of my favorite songs is, any of you know JR Aquino, he's a really, really good YouTube guy. He was on American Idol of The Voice. You know what? I think it was The Voice for a season. Also, if you guys watched Ryan Higa, on YouTube, if you watched his like half-hour movie called Agents of Secret Stuff, the credit song is this song called You and I. It goes. So that progression is a 1G, 5D, minor to A minor, and then major 4C. Oh, we lost your boy. So that's another really, really common chord progression. 1, 5, 2, 4. Very, very common. But transposing is really, really easy on the guitar because all you need to do is go, whoop, look at that. Oh, we transposed it. We got it. We brought it up a whole step. And now you just do the same chord shapes. So now. That is transposing, and it's super easy. And I think that for those of you that are guitar players and you're trying to find a good chord progression, I think that's one of the easiest ways to go about it. Is it'll be a few steps. It'll be find a chord progression that you really like, either by fiddling around and experimenting, or by borrowing chord progressions from your favorite songs. Then figure out the easiest way to do it with open frets. So if you want to use the F chord, then an A major, then an E minor or E major, like figuring out whatever you want to do. And then once you figure out those voicings, then just literally plug your capo in different places and figure out what those sound like. Just like all that same chord progression in different keys. Then once you figure that out, go, okay, now instead of just using like if we were to use E major, what would it sound like if I used E7? Or instead of A minor, using A minor 7. And experimenting with different chord voicings and chord inversions. But yeah, that is essentially the secret with composing and transposing. And you can do exactly the same thing with piano. So let's just take the 1 5 6 4. No, you're fine. So instead of C, let's go to D, which is, so that's the chord, that's the 1 5 6 4 chord progression moved up a major step. So that's the transposing. And I'll show you what I mean by using different chord inversions. You could not hear that. So what I mean by chord inversions is instead of doing, because that sounds just too janky. That is weird that the audio sometimes cuts out. But we were talking about chord inversions the other day. So let's just go back to C major. So this is C. Instead of going up to C, let's do G first inversion. And let's go up to A minor. And then F second inversion. And doing that again, so using those different inversions, keeping it in like the same register, that'll be really, really good. That's one of the keys that you tips and tricks that you use for composition, keeping like each element more or less in the same register and then EQing it and mastering it so it sort of like stays in that spot harmonically within the whole spectrum of frequencies. And then once you figure out, oh, that's how these sort of, so if we go, now if I do that in G, it'll look, wait, hold on. Doing that inversion work in a different key is also a really excellent tool. Yeah, so basically everything that I covered right there will be covered more extensively in the lesson. Whew. We have like 4-ish minutes left. Does anyone have? Yeah, so pop is 1, 5, 6, 4. Another really common pop one is 1, 5, 2, 4. Jazz is 2, 5, 1. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. Yeah, so I'll also do those inversions. So it's 1, then 5. Hold on. First inversion, then 6, first inversion, and then 4, second inversion. That's the simplest way to do that progression with the inversions. Yep, cool. So does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, epiphanies? Yeah, your boy.
Sorry, my mic wasn't connected. Is there a way to do chord inversions on stringed instruments?
Yes. So you won't find chord inversions like that. So it won't be focused like that. But what you will find, instead of G, you can find a really common version is G over B. That's a chord inversion that you can play on a guitar. So another one for C could be C over E is a really common one. C7 or C major 7 can turn into C over B. So those are technically chord inversions on guitars and stringed instruments, but that's how they're formatted when you look them up on like guitar tabs or whatever. If you see letter / letter, you can just intuitively go, okay, that's a chord progression. That's a chord inversion. Yes. So you're changing the bass note, but that's what a chord inversion is you're changing which chord is on the bottom. Now, if you C over B, or let's do C over E, you would do that differently on piano. That means something else entirely on piano. What it means on piano is that if you were to play a C major chord on top, that in your left hand, instead of playing the C, you play the E. So has a different quality than if you can hear that. Your boy, is your hand raised a separate time? Another question? That is Welcome to the Black Parade is no shame one of my favorite songs of all time. One of my proudest moments ever was that whole album is incredible. It's in my opinion, the only album worth saving from that era of emo pop rock. But again, that's just my opinion. One of my proudest moments ever was, the VR game Beat Saber. So my brother has an Oculus, and we were playing it together one night, and there are mods where people like make their own songs and like create songs, sort of like Clone Hero. If you watch that on like YouTube and stuff, it's essentially the same thing but for Guitar Hero. but they have it built in with Beat Saber. And I was going, I'm like, oh my goodness, Welcome to the Black Parade is on there. And my little brother goes, what? He had never heard of the song before, and I was like, get it now, download it. And watching him play
How
that
can somebody have
song,
not heard that song?
I know, but he played the song,
I
and
haven't.
it was seriously one of the most victorious things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, that's seriously.
That song goes way too
truly-
hard.
It goes way too hard. It didn't have to go that hard, but
Ben,
it
did you
did
say
for
you hadn't
us.
seen it?
Oh, Ben, that's your homework immediately after you get off this call is find your best
Ben, you
headphones,
haven't heard
turn off all the
No.
lights, close your eyes, and listen to that song
and just cry.
and cry. Yep.
Oh no.
Okay.
Write it down.
It
Write it
gets
down.
intense.
Write down the name of the song.
What is it
and
called?
it's
Welcome to
Welcome
the Black
to the
Parade
Black Parade by
My Chemical Romance.
thank you, MCR.
How could you forget that?
I blanked. I've been
That's
talking
so
for an hour. Yes, it is time. Thank you, Sand Guardian, Guardian of the Sand. I am the Sand Guardian.
I am the Sun Guardian, Guardian of the Sand. Poseidon quivers before him.
Oh, goodness.
We saw
All
that
right.
Vine compilation you recommended, Dawson.
Fine.
Oh, really? Amazing. All right, so last call for questions, comments, concerns, epiphanies. Cool.
Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yes, yes. Welcome to the Black Parade. It's a must.
And then if you like that song, listen to the whole album. It's an
so
hour
good.
long. It's really good. And
I
again,
think Famous Last Words is top notch.
that is good one. You've probably heard Teenagers is my guess.
It's so good.
Cancer is like an A+ song too.
That whole album
yeah.
is just A+.
Solid. No, it's a certifiable classic.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Yep. Cool. Well done,
I have
guys.
to go.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
later.